Dempsey started to really be anxious and depressed, I would say probably around 4. She was really struggling to find words to tell us who she was. And that frustration, she didn't know how to verbalize transgender. By 5, said I'm a girl in my heart and my brain, and I'm not a boy, and I want to be called she, her. We told her what transgender was. A huge light went off in her head, and that's me. That's me. That's who I am. By 7, we changed her birth certificate.
I was super happy about it because I was happy that my mom and dad accepted me for being transgender. Yeah, I was super happy.
Dempsey really bloomed after she socially transitioned.
What is an egg? In Revolutionary Girl Utna, the egg is a symbol of not yet reached potential. Referenced in the speech given by the student council before duels, it can be interpreted to refer to breaking through the preconceptions and current problems that the student council faces in order to self-actualize and become their true or best selves. Later, the egg serves as a metaphor for puberty, as Nanami believes that she has laid an egg and worries that this experience is one that she alone has yet to have. Similar to how many girls are surprised at and unprepared for menstruation due to how little women talk about it openly, or how rarely it is centered in discussions about growing up. The egg itself is ripe for metaphor and poetic extrapolation. This typically centers around the thin shell, which is easily broken from the outside, protects the inner yolk or chick, and thus constrains it from growth. In other words, the egg is a common symbol for rebirth, personal growth, and actualization. It is for these reasons that it is the term used to refer to people who have not yet realized they are transgender, as Michigan State University defines egg as being a slang term for someone who is an embryo of the trans person they will eventually hatch into.
I think it's an issue that people are identifying with gender to begin with.
Are you non-binary and just projecting your feelings onto everyone? Is that what this is?
I'm not non-binary, unfortunately. I have too much toxic masculinity built up.
Do you want to be a man?
No, I want to be a person.
Oh my gosh, you're literally
Right?
non-binary. You are...
No, I know. No, I'm not. I'm not.
I'm gonna let you in on a secret right now. Cis men want to be men. They don't want to just be a non-binary person.
I think everybody should be a non-binary person. I think binaries existing, I think gender categories existing is inherently harmful.
That is such a non-binary take.
Yeah, I strive to be non-binary, okay? But listen, I still can't escape
If you
that
want to be non-binary, you can just be non-binary.
I don't feel non-binary. You're talking about being non-binary in a vacuum. We're not in a vacuum. We're in this convoluted social structure that prevents certain perceptions from reaching me if I identify a certain way.
I think that for lots of non-binary people, they view themselves differently than how society typically views themselves. For example,
I do that.
I'm non-binary. Society views me as a woman. I can reconcile both of these facts.
Yeah. So I guess I'm non-binary and want to be perceived as a man. You just reverse conversion therapy'd me. I know this part of me. I've met it before. I think of myself as somebody who exists independent of social structures.
Dude,
I
you're
still
so
have
non-binary.
Yes, I know. I'm not disputing that.
This conversation was wild.
Yeah, no, this was worth it.
Claims that a person is an egg, or actually trans, are often tossed around when a person expresses discontent with their biological sex, such as when women point out the burden of misogyny, but are not interested in transitioning, or if someone mentions wondering what it would be like to be of the opposite sex. Gender nonconformity is also often used as proof of being an egg. Being a butch woman or effeminate man is often viewed as being mid-transformation to becoming a trans individual, thus revealing the underlying misogyny and hatred of gender nonconformity within the trans rights movement. After all, if femininity equals woman and masculinity equals man, a happily gender nonconforming individual is perceived as being in denial, or a wrong man or woman.
The masculine lesbian to trans guy pipeline is honestly so real. I know so many people that used to identify as masked lesbians back in the day. Turns out a lot of them are trans guys now, myself included. I always used to tell myself, oh, I'm not trans, it's not that bad. I can just be a mask presenting woman, it's fine. Turns out it wasn't fine, and now here we are.
After all, if femininity equals woman and masculinity equals man, a happily gender nonconforming individual is perceived as being in denial. In other words, a woman or man who is gender nonconforming is performing womanhood or manhood wrong, and doesn't fit into the new boxes that trans ideology has created.
Trans people, stitch this video with the moment that cracked your egg. I will go first. This is me, like circa 2012, 2013. It was Spirit Week for school, but the day wasn't cross-dressing day. It was formal day. And I just decided to be formal as a woman as a joke. I went all out. My hair is straightened. I'm wearing makeup. You can't see it in the picture, but I'm wearing heels too. And I was like, why do I feel so awesome right now? And then I got to school and everyone called me a faggot. And I was like, oh, never mind, I feel terrible again. I didn't end up actually coming out until like 7 or 8 years after this picture was taken, but I'm glad that I got there.
This is illustrative of the long-standing hatred of gender nonconformity, in large part due to the association with homosexuality. Butches have long been viewed as predatory and as man-liked. Effeminate men have been viewed as lesser men and faced violence from other men, and often still find it hard to connect within the gay community when they are aware of their identity. By centering any interest in behaviors, expectations, or characteristics of the opposite sex as being proof of desire to be the opposite sex, it funnels people into the path of least resistance, identifying as transgender. After all, being a straight trans man is more accepted, at least on face value, than being a butch lesbian woman. Being a sufficiently feminine trans woman is considered better than being an effeminate gay man. In reality, the changes wrought by hormone use typically reduces the dating pool, but also access to spaces where acceptance might have otherwise been found. It offers a solution to homophobia that is hard to divest from, unlike more gender-conforming gay people, who may not be so easily pegged as homosexual and are more accepted as being sexualized or as being slightly out of the norm. The result is a missing generation of gender non-conforming homosexuals with a long list of health problems as a result of hormone use and necessary surgeries, including sexual dysfunction. Of course, many who are deemed eggs and later transition are heterosexual. This is obvious in the fetish, which is evident in any forums or discussions on the topic.
Okay. And then when I was about 10 years old, I remember sneaking into my mom's room, my mom and dad's room, and nobody's home, and going into her closet and trying on her clothes. And I got really excited when I would do that, and it felt right.
Many trans-identified men previously, or still, identify as neo-Nazis. They claim to have gotten more open-minded and blame their racism, misogyny, and homophobia on unhappiness due to unrealized gender identity. However, the only thing about them which has truthfully changed is that they now avoid saying certain things in certain company, and are willing to play by community rules to continue receiving positive attention as they chase their fetish. Another common experience comes after the egg cracks, wherein many claim to be undergoing a second puberty, or making up for lost experiences by digging their heels into infantilizing themselves.
Honey Bunny, I am honored that I could help. Now let's get to your question, which reads a little something like this. We've had first puberty, yes. But what about second puberty? We will handle that and so much more in the latest episode of Say It With You. Ask Trans Girl! The mental and emotional changes when you start HRT are wild. And honestly, I think for maybe the first year of your transition, your mileage may vary, they're far more profound than the physical changes. Far more. I'm actually going to consult a note that I took about the changes during the first few months, so I'll have some pretty specific data for you too. I started estrogen and spironolactone on October 27th, 2021, so that was day 1. On October 30th, which was day 4, I reported peeing 21 times, which is not an exaggeration and a number I actually wrote down. And I still always have to pee. I have to pee next while I'm peeing. I pee so much. Thank you, Spyro! On day 8, November 3rd, I cried for hours and generally just went to bed as a lump of person. And on day 9, November 4th, I woke up with the most profound sense of calm I'd ever felt in my life. The sense of well-being and I made the right decision-ness that I felt on that day is unlike anything I'd ever felt before. I was completely and 100% euphoric and so happy with the new me. On November 10th, day 15, I heave-cried over a cute song for 2 hours. On November 18th, which was day 23, my boobies started hurting. On December 20th, which was day 55, my boobies started hurting another level up, which wasn't great. And basically, I spent the next several months laying on this couch right here under a heating pad. Get a heating pad. On January 2nd, 2022, me and my buds showed up. I'm not sure if I can talk about that on this app. Buds. You know, you get it? You get it. On January 31st, 2022, my friend said, "You should wear a bra now. You should wear a bra." I could go on. In fact, I'll do a part 2 if you want, but I want to get to the user's question a little bit more. In short, my brain works now like it was always supposed to. I have constant access to a wide range of emotions that were never available before, and now just kind of live right under the surface, which is good and bad, but it's literally 99.7% good. A lot of this is going to come out of nowhere, but you will learn to navigate it, and you will learn to love yourself in a way that you never thought was possible. As always, I wish you the best of luck in your transition.
This can be seen in the obsession with child-centered interests, the attachment to youthful aesthetics, and is all supported by the narrative of learning the rules of a new gender. Interesting how what is supposed to be an acceptance of one's true self involves indoctrination, copying others, and purchasing affirming items, rather than merely expressing one's personality. For example, being a man who has long hair, instead of letting long hair redefine a man as being a woman instead.
Older Latin ladies do have a non-binary vibe. They do, don't
The math is mathing. I mean, it is cool. That.
The adherence to stereotypes is especially evident when discussing what makes a person an egg. In all cases, it is a dissatisfaction at what appears to be not following the stereotypes assigned to one's sex, and disliking the social punishment that comes with it. Or a fetishistic joy at wearing the skin of the other sex, wherein shame, boundary pushing, and hypersexualizing the opposite sex provides a means to get one's rocks off, whether or not they admit that's what they're doing. The act of cracking one's egg also relies on a harmful introspection wherein every behavior, thought, or aspect of one's appearance must be judged to determine if it passes. Are you sleeping masculine enough? Typing like a girl? Taking a shower in a way that correlates to your gender? If not, there's plenty of guides to lead you down a path of tearing apart every little part of your day to make sure you're too busy thinking about yourself to consider wondering if the problem lies elsewhere.
What has brought me the most joy? The most joy. It's, getting out of the shower and the towels around your waist and you're looking at yourself in the mirror and you're just like, there I am. And I'm not having the moment where I'm panicked. I'm not having all these little moments that used to be just being in a t-shirt. It's being able to touch my chest and feel comfortable in my body for probably the first time. Tears of joy.
This, dear viewers, is where we part. My blood sugar is super high, and that's the difficulty breathing if there's any weird script reading. Regardless, this is a topic that's been very frustrating to me because I see quite often posts going, well, you hate being a woman, just transition. Or the assumption that because I have short hair and wear cargo shorts that I should be a trans man. And of course, the lack of introspection when basically butch lesbians say, yeah, I'm actually a straight trans man, not a gay woman. Ew, yucky. It's just very, as pretty much every topic under this umbrella is, very frustrating. And I wish that people would get out of their own heads long enough to realize that it's not a you problem, it's not a you specifically hyper-individualist problem, it's society as a whole. And you're never going to make change and actually find happiness in who you are and who your body, like who you actually want to be, unless you get out of your own head and realize that there are other people like you, and get together and form communities and offer acceptance and work towards change. But no, it's a lot easier to continue staring in the mirror and navel-gazing. Anyhow, if you guys have any comments, questions, or concerns, you can let me know in the comment section down below. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye!